What is the measure of a man? When was the last time you took time to self-reflect and really think about how you are doing as a man? And what does that mean to you? We want you to feel powerful and learn how to be the best man you can be. And we want to get together as a community of men to do it. Hello and welcome to Young Living's podcast, The Wild Drop. My name is Jacob Young, your host. Young Living is the world leader in producing and distributing premium essential oils. And this podcast will provide you with drops of information about Young Living, including stories, history, product information, lots of little fun facts, and even more. Thank you for coming back on the podcast, our managing director of Skyrider Ranch, Skyler Olson. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been a hot second since we've had you here. I think the last podcast that we did was the bighorn sheep conservation episode, which fantastic episode, fantastic project. Absolutely love it. Now, ladies, while this podcast may be for the men, just listen. If you got a man in your life and you think that maybe he needs the time away or needs an experience for himself, just listen to what we have to share with you today. We're here to talk about men's camp. And the last men's camp that we did was 2017.
Wow. And
I'd kind of like you just to share what your very first experience for men's camp was like.
Yeah, it was an experience, that's for sure. And I really hadn't been working for Young Living for very long. So I was still kind of green in the world of us here at Young Living and didn't know what to expect. So all I knew is we've got a bunch of people coming out. They're going to be here for these days, and we're doing a lot of wild things. Like we're going horseback riding, and then we're going to go do a night walk through the wilderness, and we're planning all this stuff. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, man, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like, trepidatious about it even happening. And then people showed up, and we started going through it, and it's been one of the best experiences I had. And I wasn't attending it. I was there kind of attending it, but through the lens of working there. And it was one of the neatest things we've done at Skyrider.
Yeah. And I think the fact that for you, it was still an experience that you can take away from, even though you weren't necessarily like part of it or involved with it.
Yeah.
What were some of those things that you like go back to on that day or go back to on that time from the first or the second men's camp? Like, what were some special moments for you?
I think for me, there's a few special moments, but a big takeaway, I would say, is like men right nowadays, like I'm a dad and I have a busy job, and we don't often give ourselves a chance to like break away from that or go be with your buddies away and just unplug and then but work on yourself while you're doing that.
Yeah.
That was a pretty astounding thing to me, is to see how important it is for us to kind of look at that side of ourselves,
Yeah.
Get away. The mountains is a great place to do it. Skyrider is a great place to do it because you're detached kind of from reality. You're in like this idyllic mountain town miles outside of a town of 178 people. So you're like remote, and you get to just kind of, I don't know, be with people that you're close to, like-minded with, work on things together, work through things together, and that's important for us to do. We're not really doing it. At least I don't. I don't focus on it.
Yeah.
And seeing the impact that men's camp had on some of our members that came was like, oh wow, this is something that's lacking maybe a little bit in our world.
Yeah, and it definitely is. There was a lot that is and was lacking at the time that my dad realized, especially for men, right? I feel like, me personally speaking, when I kind of look at like our society with men specifically, there's a lot that we take on, and we don't have a really good way of kind of like letting it out or kind of getting it off of our shoulders. Like we just carry like all the burdens essentially, right? Of being a man and what men experience in their day-to-day life. And we're not very good at like opening up, we're all tough and nails and all that stuff. And we don't really, especially for me, since like being married and everything, I don't really like hang out with my buddies as much. And so like men's camp, when I got to hang out with just guys, I know this sounds ridiculous and weird, but it was kind of nice, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was essentially, but it was, I think, something kind of like along the lines of what you said, of being around like-minded people that are there to try and better themselves, to, either try and achieve something that they've been trying, to reach or to access or whatever it may be. And they were just there for self-development and personal growth.
Yeah.
In those days, it was definitely something that was needed. I don't think a lot of people paid attention to men needing time specifically for themselves. But even more so nowadays, that it's extremely important, especially through COVID. There was a lot of time where there wasn't much going on. I feel like, not to get like too much into the stuff, but I feel like a lot of people went through really difficult and hard times and still are. A lot of that being mental health and depression and stuff like that. And I'm so happy that we've brought this back, because that was something that my dad saw. And I feel like it was just a big part that we were missing, and I'm so happy to bring it back. And I kind of want to know what like your thoughts are on bringing it back. Like, are you excited for it, or are you dreading it because you got to prepare for it again? Or
well, both. But that's part of the job, and it's part of the fun of it. It's I'm very excited to be a part of it, from being there and working there and helping facilitate, and also kind of participating in it. It's good for us to dip into our wild side a little bit. You come out to Skyrider, and we have talks, we have these self-improvement things we're doing at the lodge or whatever, and then we're going to go out and chop wood, and we're going to shoot a gun, and we're going to build a big bonfire, and we're going to ride a horse, and you kind of dip back into that wilder side of yourselves. And at men's camp, it was all walks of life.
Yeah.
I mean, people who had never touched a fishing pole to a professional fishing guide, and we're going out fishing, and you're mingling with each other, and you just get to experience things that aren't typically at your doorstep out there.
I completely agree. It was so rewarding to see everybody from all different aspects of life just be able to unite and just have a good time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a rare thing nowadays, is to get a bunch of different people in a room and just kind of let them have a good time. And I think it's just fabulous that everyone, like I said, is able to just leave everything at home, right? Or leave it wherever they left it and not bring it with them, and just be able to break themselves down and, like I said, restructure themselves, build themselves up to the man that they want to be. And I really hope that the courses and some of the speakers that we have can do that just for the men. One thing that I would love for you to share is like maybe a personal experience or something that you experienced personally, as far as like something that you feel like affected you or helped you for the better from men's camp, and then maybe like feedback that you heard or received from others.
Yeah. I remember one night particularly, it was something your dad was doing with the group, and they had a piece of paper. And we were going through like things in our life we wish we could let go of, or something we were holding in and dealing with.
Yeah.
And it was a whole process. And I was outside watching the fire, this big fire. And as you would come out and like dispose of that feelings that you'd written down on your paper into the fire. And I remember being like real, like, oh, what's this? And then you see the emotion leaving people as that happened. And it's guys that I'd shared 3 or 4 days with. I kind of got to know them. And I respect them, and I'm like, man, I think maybe I want to write a few things down and see if I can get that same release and let go of these burdens, these chains that are holding me down. So that was an impactful night for me. It was, you don't see big, tough, all these dudes emotional and getting rid of it.
Yeah.
And then it's over, and it's like you could just feel the ease and the happiness and cohesion, and it was just like a happy moment. People were doing good. It had a definite impact on their emotional well-being, and that's something that I took away, and I try to be more cognizant of that. So hopefully I can participate in that this year.
Yeah, and you're talking about the night of the firewalk.
Yeah, there was a firewalk.
That was an amazing night, and like I remember it kind of the exact same that you were, writing down and releasing all the emotions and burning those emotions forever.
Yeah.
And it was crazy to see when those guys walked across that fire. Literally were different people.
Yeah.
Different human beings at the end. It was fascinating and just amazing to see. And the best part was like walking across that fire and being able to embrace like my dad afterwards, kind of like, he had done it.
Right.
Dude, I was so nervous. I was so terrified because we'd gone through the training of like, okay, this is what you do not to burn your feet.
Right.
And it still was that like psychological thing. Like I'm literally walking over like hot coals. Right. And funny fact, Prasad and Ben might kill me for sharing this, but they had stuck ice in their shoes prior to like going out, so their feet were cold, so they weren't burned and stuff. And they were looking up ways to not get their feet burned and whatnot. I'm sorry, Ben and Prasad, for ratting you out, but I till this day I still think that's so funny.
Well, it's such a mental, like that exercise is very much a mental exercise to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because you can do it safely. Like it's not, but the thought of actually doing that is pretty scary.
Yeah.
So it's activities like that and that are beneficial while we're there during men's camp. And it was something from the outside looking in, like I never probably would have attended a men's camp. I never would have signed up for any guys retreat in my life until I saw that. And that was just my own personal, I don't know what you'd call apprehensions or misunderstanding, not understanding what's actually going on here, not assigning value to it because I just didn't understand it. And then after seeing it, I'm like, oh, wow, this is good.
Yeah.
This is a good thing. And I would recommend it to people to do something like this for themselves.
So men's camp is a great place for you to kind of come and just be able to really kind of be like in the unknown of what to expect. And don't be afraid thinking like, I have no idea what's going on, but literally come not knowing what's going to happen and kind of surprise yourself. Like be surprised. You kind of want your feathers to be a little bit ruffled because what this essentially does, this camp, is it helps you overcome not only life obstacles, but it builds your mental aptitude and attitude to overcome obstacles that you experience in your everyday life.
Yeah.
And one of the things that my dad always really focused on was how to build a healthy mindset. He truly believed that by having a healthy, strong mindset, you were able to accomplish whatever it may be. And I believe that 100% for a fact because I feel like for me, after the first two, like men's camp, I thought I was already fairly confident knowing what I wanted to be and like being a man and whatnot. And it absolutely kind of shook me to my core and realized like, okay, I'm not like the man that I thought I was, but because of that camp, it built me to be the man that I am today. And like, I'm truly grateful for that. And I'm so happy that we're bringing it back. So even though I was telling you, kind of like come without any expectation or like, just don't be prepared or anything. Here, Skyler can share a few things with you as far as like what you can expect. And maybe it will intrigue you and push you even more to want to come to men's camp and bring a buddy along or tell someone about it, right? Because this is a extremely personal time. And it's a very small group, meaning you get a very personal one-on-one connection with everybody that's there and some of the speakers that are coming too.
Yeah, and that's one of the big aspects, but a very special part of men's camp is coming is it's a small group. We cap it at, I believe, 100.
Yep.
And you're going to have Mary Young speaking to you. You're going to have Prasad, Dallas Harding, Ben Riley. These people are going to be there speaking to you directly in the basement of the lodge in that room with 100 people. It's very intimate, and you don't get those chances very often. And you get to know them.
Yeah. And even in that setting, like everybody's there for kind of the same goal, the same reason to uplift, embrace, and empower each other and just be better in every aspect and form of what being a man is, right? And, there's a few other speakers in there that I'd love to mention. We have
Dr. Ollie Wink.
Dr. Ollie, who is fantastic.
He's great.
He's going to be talking about products for the dudes. And if you haven't heard Dr. Ollie speak, he makes every speech so entertaining.
Yeah.
Really good laughs. One of those things where you just kind of have to be there to experience it. We also have Varick Birchfield, who I really, really love as a human being. He really talks how important family is and how being connected to Heavenly Father is so important. And so he's going to be talking, about that. His talk is Partners in Crime, which is emotional and spiritual connection, which I think is super important. It's not really something like us guys really tap into because we're so tough and, all that stuff. But I feel like it's a really important part of our life that we don't necessarily explore as much as we should. We also have Nicola, and he's really good with fitness and health, and he's going to be talking about Sisu, if I'm saying that correctly. But it's the first 3 pillars of vigor. I'm super excited to hear from him. We also have Mark Bartlett, who is our head scientist here at Young Living, and he's going to be talking about the science behind the why. So our oils, the products, the farms, everything. And he's, for someone that has just joined Young Living, it's amazing to see how much he's just embraced the culture, embraced the science, embraced the passion that my dad have to just create and innovate and just keep being the industry leader in everything that we do. So I'm super excited to hear from that. And then we have some really fun activities that are going on. Obviously, you talked about, ATVs. Hopefully we won't flip any this time. Fishing, we have the gun range and stuff. And then we have giving back to the ranch, right? Ranch tours.
Yeah.
Making, whether it's the X fence or whatever. I hated building that fence. That fence was awful. Whatever it was with that fence, feeding the buffalo or the elk, and a lot of people will never experience these chores ever again in their lives, right?
Right.
How often do you get to go out and feed an elk or a buffalo, or the sheep, or just be able to be a ranch hand and just help around the ranch. And what's amazing is I've never seen so many people so excited to go out and do ranch chores. I don't know about you, but all the guys were like, I'm so ready to go and work on the ranch chores. I wasn't. When I got assigned to the fence, I was like, oh, this won't be too bad. And then I didn't realize how much fence we were actually doing.
We did a lot.
That was a lot of fencing, but it was great. Like I wouldn't go back and change it. I wouldn't go back in time and not be there, not want to be present or anything. It was a time that where I have a lot of memories that I'll be able to share with my kids and with everybody else as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best part is men's camp. Till this day, I hear so many amazing comments and feedback and people just sharing their memories and their experiences with men's camp. And it's just, I'm so happy that we're really doing it again. I feel like it's a part that we've kind of been missing since my dad's passed away, and I'm really happy that we're bringing it back. I guess the question that I have for you is what's the most exciting part that's going to be coming to the men's camp this year?
Well, my favorite part is always horses.
Yeah.
I love being on a horse. I love taking people on horses. I think that it's the best way to experience the wilderness, or you just around the ranch and the lodge.
Yeah.
Because it's just, you're more you're just into it. You're with the horse and you're on the mountain, and that's my favorite part of it. And if you're into Young Living, I don't know that you could ask for a better group of people to come and speak to you like that. I mean, you just read all those lists. You've got Mary and Ben and Prasad and Ollie and all those great people. When was I can't think of the last time I was around all those people and there wasn't 10, 15,000 people also there.
Yeah.
And that's me personally working for Young Living.
Yeah.
So I'm excited even for that as an employee, to be around that many people with that few of people also sharing time. That's unique. That is very unique to have all those people in one place at one time and have it not be a mob of people.
Yeah.
So if you're into Young Living, man, that's pretty special to me. It's rare. I don't, as a person who works there, I don't see that very often. So.
Yeah. And I think one of the other great parts about men's camp is it's not one of those camps where someone paid a speaker to come and speak, and they come and speak and they get their paycheck and they leave, right?
Right.
This isn't that type of event. The people that are coming, the people that are speaking, they're there the entire time. They are engaged because they're there not only for everybody else, but for themselves as well. And that's why I said, everyone's united in this amazing community that we have to just embrace and empower each other and uplift each other with everything we're doing to just become better men, right?
Yeah.
So, Prasad's going to be there. Have him ride a horse. He doesn't like riding horses, but have him ride a horse with you, Be like, come on, Prasad, embrace the moment, right? That type thing. Ben Riley will be there. Mark Bartlett. I don't know if he's a mountain guy or anything like that, but I'm excited to see him at the ranch and whatnot. All, like I said, we talked about how some of these guys have never experienced some of the things that we're going to be doing. And to see them in that moment and kind of to see a little bit of fear and a little bit of panic, it's fun to see that. But also towards the end when they start to get comfortable and everybody's there helping them and kind of showing them the ropes and whatnot, and just the smile and almost the reward look on their face at the end of the project is just, it's priceless.
Yeah.
Like you can't put money on that. And it's awesome to see. Well, we've talked a lot about men's camp. You probably are curious about like some of the details, like, okay, how do I sign up? You know, it's limited. So registrations end May 2nd. So you need to get your registration in before then. It is a little bit of a hefty price, I won't lie, but the tickets are $1,900. That includes your food, your lodging, the workshop, speakers, outdoor activities, ammo, ATVs, fishing equipment, everything that you can possibly think of, and shuttles to and from Salt Lake City Airport and back to Salt Lake City Airport from the lodge. If you really want to reserve your spot, or you really feel like you need to reserve somebody's spot, talk to them. Reach out to Stacy Olson at STOLSEN at youngliving.com via email to get signed up. So a really cool program that we're also doing that's new to this men's camp is obviously in these times, you know, some people don't have the money to pay for their tickets. So we are offering a sponsorship program where 2 tickets will be paid for all together. And so what you have to do is you have to send an email in to ldavies@youngliving.com. That's LDAVIES by May 8th at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and explain in 100 words or less how this event would change your life for the better and why you want to be part of men's camp. And the men's camp committee will review all the entries and contact 2 winners by May 15th. And if you win, you'll get a personal invitation from yours truly to attend the event free of charge. Winners will need to pay for their own flights, however, but we will provide free shuttle service to and from the Salt Lake City Airport. So all you need to do is just get yourself to the event and we'll take care of the rest for you. So that's something new that we're doing that we haven't ever done in the past. I am forgetting the most important part. When is this happening? Well, it happens August 3rd through the 6th, literally 2 weeks after convention. So convention is an exciting time. Everyone's so pumped up and exhilarated because new products, new things coming along. And we just got to keep that momentum going for all of you, right? The momentum never dies. It just carries all the way through. So maybe we can kind of paint a picture for you as far as like what Tabiona is like. Tabiona is unlike any other place that you've been to. It's a small little town out in the middle of nowhere. You tell people, oh yeah, it's out in Tabiona, and they're like, where is Tabiona? And I'd love if you could kind of share like what Tabiona is like for you, Skyler, because you've been living there for the last few years.
Yeah. This will be coming on 8.
Oh, wow.
Tabiona is a place that even people from Utah often have never heard of. It is the smallest town in the state of Utah. It's 178 people, and we are outside of that town. It's beautiful. So let's say you're coming to Salt Lake. You fly into Salt Lake City, pretty big city, and you get in your van or truck, whatever's bringing you up, and you start leaving the city, and you make your way up the hills to Park City, a little bit smaller metropolis, but still a city.
Still really nice.
And then you go to a smaller town, and then you start climbing up the mountains, and you start climbing. You get up to 10,000 feet. And then you start coming down the other side, and it's a tight valley that just opens up into an idyllic mountain western town.
Yeah.
Big vistas, big mountains, green pastures, cows, horses. I mean, it's what you expect and want to see when you head out west to go to a ranch.
Yeah.
That's Skyrider. And so it's a departure from most people's lives.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's definitely a separation from civilization in itself, which is so nice because like it's not far from civilization, but it's far enough that you literally break away from everything.
You do.
And you feel kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. You really do. It's just this big open area of just majestic purple mountains and beauty and the Utah wilderness. It's a beautiful sight to behold. It really is. And it's such a peaceful little town, right?
It's great.
Nothing goes on. Nothing happens.
Well, and what's neat about Tabby is you kind of have every landscape that Utah has to offer.
Yeah.
You've got the mountains, and it just bleeds down into red rock, which is pretty unique, all in one view. And it's quiet enough that I notice planes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because we don't hear planes very often. So when you hear a plane, you're like looking up, like, oh, it's a plane. Like that's how quiet it is.
Yeah.
And the stars at night are crazy. You hear people comments like, oh, I can see the stars. You know, it's like, welcome
so
to the real
pretty.
world.
Yeah.
It's beautiful out here.
I think one thing that's probably pretty exciting for a lot of people, right? Is when we go on our horse rides or our ATV rides, they might experience some of the wildlife that's out there. So
Sure.
you might experience a mountain lion. I hope you see it from far away because they're not friendly. They may look like pet friendly. They're not pet
don't
friendly.
pet the lions.
Yeah, don't pet the lions. They're definitely not friendly. I promise you. We have moose. We've seen moose a few times. I think the last men's camp, when we went up over the top of Wolf Creek for the ATV ride, we actually saw a moose and her baby, her calf. That was a really cool experience. We've seen a few wolves. What else have we seen? That's pretty much all the wildlife that's up there. Obviously, the elk and the buffalo that are up there.
Yeah, it's a vibrant, wildlife-rich environment up there. It's common to see elk. You see elk every day, mule deer every day. Healthy populations of bears. Last year I saw 4 or 5 bears.
Oh, wow.
Just around. It's rare,
Yeah.
but there's a healthy population of bears, healthy population of lions, lots of hawks, birds of prey. You never know what's going to show up
Yeah.
out in the backyard.
I haven't seen a bear yet, so I'd like to see a bear, but yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, the options are pretty much endless for Western wildlife from the porch.
Yeah, maybe we need to send people out on a scavenger hunt. Like, okay, go find the moose now. Go find the
Yeah.
bear now.
Yeah. Well, I think a couple guys found sheds.
Oh, moose
Shed horns.
sheds.
So wild elk and deer shed their antlers every year and they grow back.
Yeah.
And the wild herds come around our ranch, and I think we were just going for a hike or something. A couple guys found shed antlers, so they're around.
That's a reward in itself, right
Yeah.
there. That's awesome. Well, is there anything else, Skyler, that you'd like to share about men's camp, or feel like somebody might need to know about men's camp, or just kind of another, I don't know, just kind of like a last hurrah of this is why you need men's camp. This is why you need to come to the Iron Wheel men's camp.
I think if you feel like you might want to go, you should go. I think you should. I think you should. I think if you're into young living, I think if you want to know more about us, if you want an experience that you'll most likely take a lot back into your personal life, that you should give it a try. Like I said, I before I saw men's camp happen in front of my eyes, I never would have voluntarily gone to one.
Yeah.
But now that I have and been a part of them, I think it's good. And if you think you might like it, I think you should come. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely have to make a men's camp so you can join and not have to help
Hey,
be setting
let's
up
do
and
it.
whatnot. Well, thank you so much for your time, Skyler. Greatly appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
And thank you for tuning into this episode of The Wild Drop. Remember, you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, on YouTube, and of course our website at www.youngliving.com. Don't forget to oil up Young Living family. This is Jacob Young, dropping out. Take care.